This marks the end of our panel sessions. I would now like to invite Mr. Ali Salman, Chief Executive Officer of Islam and Liberty Network Foundation, to deliver his closing speech.
Well, it's not going to be too long. You have been here for 2 full days, so let's all, applause for your all self here. So it's not possible for me to summarize all the points for many excellent presentations which have been delivered for last 2 days. But I have requested the speakers themselves to share some key takeaways, and this is sort of a readout from those points. By the way, we have a reception for about an hour of our interaction. So if I can request all of you to pay some attention for next 5 minutes. Tea and coffee served just after this short speech. You're welcome all to join. But before I read out from this speech, let me also thank the sponsors, the Atlas Network, Network for Free Society, and Amani Advisors for sponsoring this important conference, and also our local partners, LEAD and Amid Research. Especially the Amid Research team has been there compiling the notes, proceedings, preparing for media management. So I thank all of you from Amid Research. Ato Rais Arif, I don't know if he's here right now, but at least his team is here. So thank you so much. And I also wish to thank the volunteers who have joined from Ideas, from ILN alumni, from LEAD, who have worked very hard, along with Bashir, our very important officer, for smooth arrangement of this conference, and also our MC Sally. Right. So, what are the important points in this conference which comes out? And this is not in a particular order. Since democratic institutions are not well established in most of Muslim majority countries, civil society needs to be alert to protect civil political fields and traditions against the state apparatus. There is also a way to protect our freedoms and liberal democratic systems. Development of a nation could not be complete ignoring political aspects of development, as it has been seen in the case of Bangladesh. Some scenario in this is also seen in many Muslim countries, especially Middle Eastern countries. So political freedoms should be on the agenda of development, economic development as well. Study of social non-movements imply that policymakers should not defer addressing issues and concerns raised by various sections of society during their non-movement phase to a time where large-scale mobilization and at times violent reactions take place. A timely response by the policy elite is important, and analysis of social non-movements help us in assessing those needed and appropriate responses. Getting democracy back, this is from Tunisia, is not impossible in Tunisia, providing Democrats draw lessons from past mistakes and consider working on 2 complementary trajectories. An immediate one, defending human rights and freedoms threatened by autocracy, and a medium to long term based on building the solid grounds for democracy. And let me also add economic reforms. This is part of the project we are doing. From India, how Indian Muslim women have used the public sphere on multiple occasions to assert and practice their citizenship right. However, the lack of women individual narratives has undermined their visibility in the public sphere. From a public policy perspective, if the discourse of Indian Muslim women are explored through narration methods, it could help in unveiling their desire and aspiration of accessing the public sphere and practicing their sovereign rights in India. Economic performance usually goes hand in hand with outward-looking free market and free trade policies. Economic indicators improve when market-oriented policies are implemented under economic and political stability with lower uncertainty and higher predictability. They deteriorate under higher uncertainty, lower predictability, inward-looking anti-free market policies. As Western democracies lurch towards greater illiberalism, Muslim communities within those societies may be well positioned to save their liberal pillars due to Islamic precepts that align with and promote liberalism, as well as their by experience as being the targets of illiberal policies and projects. From Turkey, the rule of law in Turkey is jeopardized because because the independence of judiciary is limited by the Justice and Development Government, a civilian tutelage replaced by the military and bureaucratic tutelage over the judiciary in Turkey. Multiple barriers, legal, social, human, economic, interplay with each other and factor into low or stagnant female labor participation in some majority Muslim countries. The role of religious interpretations in shaping social norms and legal and institutional frameworks should also be accounted for. Another important point, the development model for Islamic countries based on the concept of an Islamic market economy that combines the market economy mechanism, Islamic legal controls, and the cultural and social specificities of each country matter. Challenge of freedom of religion is brought by three actors, namely state, quasi-state institutions, and civil society groups. State should play a role as a guarantor of religious rights observance and not be part of those who infringe religious rights. More economic freedom policies will produce more prosperity and peace with means of having small size of government in economic sectors and more secure property rights and rule of law, and in controlling inflation and free trade and free markets. We can recommend Malaysia as a good example in these domains. Islam and free market economy are compatible. Taxes are discouraged. Prices are in the hands of God. Islamic finance needs to solve problems of real economy, making sure that it offers solutions for financial inclusion and sustainable development. It is not possible to bring religions together. However, we can create harmony between religious communities by converging on the idea that God as sustainer of the universe. Innovation and prosperity is higher in countries with less religious restrictions. And finally, non-violent extremism is equally threatening as the violent extremism, and we need to address that as well. And my final points perhaps is that we deal as a civil society institutions both political power and sometimes democracy does not contain all the answers. Similarly, market power, corporate power. And therefore, what we should strive for, consistent with our mission, is protection of fundamental human rights and consumer choice. I believe these two themes are perhaps more important takeaways from the formal corporate and political structures. And we all hope that these messages will resonate with you and will help in narrative building and further education. I wish you all the best, and I'll again invite you to well, maybe MC has to say something else.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Ali Salman.